Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. There are no shortcuts to high performance. And so when we see people who reach the top of their fields and achieve elite performance, we may wonder if they have some sort of magic bullet. Maybe they have that one hack that will change our lives. Well, what if elite performance is not really the result of one thing? Maybe it's a couple of things. I don't know. Maybe it's a couple of things that world-class performers do in their field over and over to get elite performance. I don't know, but that's what my guest is here today to talk about. I'm LA, and this is the Growth State of Mind. In this episode, I'm having a conversation with Dominique Brightmon, and we're going to talk about the 5 keys to elite performance. Dom is a top-rated podcast host and certified self-leadership trainer. He's a certified self-leadership expert with John Maxwell Team from Baltimore, Maryland, and he empowers and equips others to share their stories. He's also an author of several best-selling books. So, Dom, thanks for being here, man.
Hey, my man, LA, baby. Great to be here with you, man.
Yeah, man. So, hey, man, let's just jump straight in talking about elite performance. So, first of all, you have this top-rated podcast, right, called Going North Podcast, and it's listed as one of the top 10 self-help podcasts in the world, and against the likes of, get this, y'all, Brendan Burchard, Gretchen Rubin, Lewis Howes. Come on, man. So that lets you know it must be a pretty good podcast. So just starting off, what led you to start the Going North podcast?
Good question. It actually started back in 2017, and this was about a good, almost close to a year, about half a year after publishing my first ever book, Going North, Tips and Techniques to Advance Yourself. And one thing that led me to actually finally getting more focused on the direction of the show, of course, North, but of course, is that I read a book by Derek Sivers, who was the founder of cdbaby.com, where that book, he mentioned how he started the company. It's a short read. And he mentioned how his site was built on helping independent artists get their music out there on CDs and just for independent artists. So I was like, oh, well, that's freaking cool. How about I just interview authors around the globe? And when I told my coaching buddy about it, I originally was going to call the show the Mr. Music and Reads podcast, because one thing about creative people, sometimes they create so much and focus so much on getting so many things out there that they don't give enough time to certain ideas and let them sit and actually generate more success. And my coaching buddy was like, hey, you got this Going North brand here. Going North is what you're all about. When folks ask you, how's it going, Dom, you tell them you're going north. So how about you call it the Going North podcast? And I'm like, you know what? I'll do just that. So named it the Going North podcast, made it about advancing others by helping those who want to join the business of immortality by publishing their books, to highlight those who've joined that business by publishing books of their own, and just really gathering a motley crew of folks from around the world who have different varying levels of success, from folks who've given TEDx talks and their talks getting millions of views, all the way to a regular 9-to-5er who's just started and just trying to get by, all the way to one of those great elders who are still alive today that just want to leave a keepsake for their loved ones. Anyone else is willing to listen. So that's really how the podcast just started. It was just from a place of service and really consistency, helping me to really keep it alive.
Okay. So would you say is it a podcast for book lovers or for people who want to write books?
I'd say both, definitely both, because one question I love to ask my guests is, if their book was a food, what would it be and why? And most guests just get thrown off by that. Like, oh, never heard that question before. Like, darn, I guess it'll be a taco. Well, funnily enough, one guy said it'll be a flapper pie. And I'm like, what the heck is that? It's like a pie full of cream or something, apparently like in the prairies area of the world, where it's like a bunch of cream and the crust, and it's like a light baked pie. And I'm like, okay. All right, well, yeah, but yeah, definitely for those who love books, those who want to write books, and even those who just want to be inspired or entertained. Because in business, especially personal development, you have to really be edutaining. You have to be both entertaining and educating as you go along. So definitely want to keep it fun and light while still giving some good stuff for folks and really helping others to get their voices out there, because those who have books, their business isn't just books. It's really a facet of their whole business. A lot of folks with books these days don't just have a book. They may have a career, they may have a business, a speaking business. They may even use the books to get into their online courses or as a lead magnet. So yeah, it's definitely for just about everybody who wants to succeed in life.
Okay, okay, sounds good. So let's get into it. Let's get into this elite performers, right? So I guess first of all, the question that I always get asked, or the question I have for myself, is: does a person have to be born with certain talents or certain gifts or skills to become an elite performer, or can anybody develop into an elite performer?
Solid question, and the answer is anyone can develop themselves into an elite performer. And the thing is, it's not just for athletes; it's for any realm of business, any realm of life you want to be on. Like I forgot the guest's name, where she mentioned how leadership is agnostic. It really doesn't matter what field you're in. Good leadership is required in every organization and group of people if there's going to be success happening in that group or organization. And elite performance happens when you have that desire to be at the top of your game. You do the things that get you to the top, stay at the top, and always continually reinventing yourself as you go along. Because one major thing I've noticed from interviewing a lot of folks is that one major key that keeps them in the game at the top of their game is reinvention, where they reinvent themselves. It could be someone who's written business books all their life, but they want to write a nonfiction book, and that actually lets them really gain the confidence to write even more books. Heck, even in reverse, sometimes even folks who write fiction books all their life, but they jump into nonfiction because they want to help themselves really get into more readers' hands. Heck, even one guest I had on a couple years ago, she was a professor, but she wasn't getting paid as well teaching at a university since she didn't have tenure. So she started teaching online and making more money now than she ever dreamed of. So elite performance is something that can be developed.
Okay. Okay. Because sometimes, it definitely looks like that person who, whether it's in any field, whether it's athletics or leadership or just any field, you get these people that just seem like they just rolled out of bed and, or they got these, and certainly some people do probably have certain talents that lend themselves to, you know, become an elite performer easier than maybe another person, right? And so I think a lot of people get caught up on that, whether they're trying to be a elite performer. Like I said, in any area of their lives, you do have those people that just look, man. You look at them, you're like, man, it seems like it's so easy for you, right? So
Yep.
so what do you say to that? Like, when they say, Dom, man, come on, Dom, like you look at that brother. It's easier for him, right?
Yeah, it happens every now and then. And there's the classic example of the good old overnight success happening overnight. Well, it happened over many nights, a lot of sweat and tears and sleepless nights of like really working basically 5 to 9, sometimes even 6 to 3 a.m. in the morning, in top of your regular day job, and just really working in silence and doing all the things that a lot of folks don't see. Heck, even we're since we're both Maxwell Leadership certified, we know John likes to give the example when folks say come up to him and say, "Hey, John, we want to do what you do." Well, do you want to do what I did? And most folks would be like, "No, we don't," because my man has had 50 plus years of success and a lot of toil and a lot of talks given and a lot of words written. Like a lot of success you see nowadays, they just put enough out there in the world. They put enough action out there in the world to where when they finally got their time to shine, they took advantage of it. Then folks got to check the rest of their backlog and realize, oh, so they've been at this for a freaking while. And that's the one of the major threads that you see amongst elite performers, successful people, is that they put in the work, they create a body of work, and they're always at work on their craft.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. I think a lot of people don't see the behind the scenes or the work that's done in the dark, right? they don't see, they don't see like the Kobe Bryant or the Jordan in the gym at 4 o'clock in the morning. They don't see that, right? And so in
Mhm.
this world today of social media and stuff like that, all we see is the finished product, right? And so we think that, oh, okay, elite performance is just, I can just get it like that overnight because the person I saw on Instagram, they just bust on the scene, right? And so I think that's definitely fool's gold when you see that, right? So so let's talk about what are the keys, the five keys to being an elite performer.
Sure thing. And I put in a nice acrostic. So if you have any listeners out there named Mitch, they'll definitely enjoy this one because it's actually for the MITCH. The M is for mental awareness. Your mindset is the keystone of your success because really, if you keep your mind right, a lot of everything else will definitely go right. Heck, even I remember interviewing a guest, Joyce Martyr, in her book, The Financial Mindset Fix. She was a therapist. But the thing was, a lot of them had financial issues, a lot of her clients. But she realized that their financial issues were fixed once they got their mind fixed. And just that simple switch, and why this is the first key for elite performance, is that when you get your mind right, everything else will go right. The second key is influence awareness, keeping brain care in mind yet again, but at a different level, because it's all about your environment, like what you watch, what you read, what you listen to. What you listen to is what you'll eventually become. Funny enough, I always like to joke around sometimes, and folks ask me, "Hey, Dom, so where are you from?" And I'm like, "I'm from Baltimore." And I'm like, just because I put the T in Baltimore doesn't mean I'm not from Baltimore. I just listened to the Hodge Twins videos for about a good year or so back in like 2012, 2013 when they were on YouTube, and their Southern accent just got on me, as well as Grant Cardone, who I listen to a lot as well, with him being from Louisiana. So what you listen to is what you'll become. And then the third key is time awareness. And the reason why it's time awareness as opposed to time management is because you can't manage time. What you're truly managing is your attention and your energy. Where your attention and energy goes is where your time is going to go. From that 9 to 5 hour, heck, even if you don't even have a 9 to 5, you're an entrepreneur, sometimes a 24/7, 365, if that's where you are at the moment. You have to dedicate certain parts of your time. You have to find out where you operate the best and dedicate your attention and your energy to where you want it to go. And then there's the C, connection awareness. From point A to point B to point C, all the way to Z. Having a great network of folks in your network that can help you to succeed. And one of the greatest gifts that I've had in my life was my friends that I've gained in middle school, especially back then when I wasn't good at making friends, especially at a new school that I'm still friends with to today, and helped me to get on TV with my first ever book. And that was a friendship that we still have today that started in middle school. I didn't think we were going to be lifetime bros like that. And it's all because I had the right people in my network. And that's one thing that elite performers have. They get around other people that want to succeed and want to reach their highest potential. And if they're not around them, they're going to make sure that they stay away from those who aren't succeeding at their best. And then the wonderful thumb to put it all together, the H is habit awareness. Habits that are built to help you succeed. Yeah, $1 million habits or debt building habits. And I'm not just talking about financial debt either. I'm talking about physical debt. Sometimes we may want to get that extra donut. Sometimes we may want to get that late night snack and be like, yeah, I'll be all right. Oh, I wonder how many burpees this is. As one of my old coaches used to say, like, hey, just equip when it comes to choosing your food and your nutrition, like, hey, just just multiply how many burpees times your donut, like 10 burpees per slice of cake. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'm good. So it's all about habits to help you have not only the $1 million you want in life, but also the $1 million, if not $1 trillion body that every single person has if they truly treat it the temple as it truly is.
Man, I love it. Oh, I love it. So the acronym is Mitch. I want to talk about the mental part. You said that's the first key. I definitely think that is one of the most important keys to elite performance. I think that's what the mental is what separates the good ones from the great ones in whatever area of life you want to think about. From going from good to great is obvious, oftentimes the difference in mindsets, right? And so just just talk about how important that is about the mindset, like because I also think this too. Are some people have great either families, mothers and fathers that raised them to have a certain mindset, and then some people didn't have that, right? I think my mindset came. I think I don't know if it came. I don't think it came from my parents or anything like that. I had great parents, but they didn't give me the mindset that I have. I think I had it, and I just had to live life and experience life, and then I kind of came into it. Um, because I do have the mindset to grow and develop, right? And some people don't have that, right? But the reason why they don't have that is because they never saw an example of it, right? And so just talk about the importance of the mindset. Like how important is that?
Oh, definitely important. And hey, this show is all about growth mindset too, so it's definitely important for a reason. Like, hey, you want to be a big giant positive tree giving positive shade to people. We don't want to be one of the trees giving negative shade to people. So it's really all about growth. And a mindset starts with making sure that you keep it fresh. One question folks can take away with them if they haven't taken anything else away from this podcast yet is to ask themselves this one question. When was the last time I've done something for the first time? When was the last time I've done something for the first time? And then that'll get your brain cooking on some things you may have forgotten, some things you may have been wanting to do. Like the podcast itself, I originally wanted to start a podcast before ever writing a book. And it took some setbacks in life, going through some grief, a little imposter syndrome on my part, and some self doubt to realize, you know what, this is something I originally wanted to do. And it's one of the most successful things that I've been able to put out into the world as of now, that's still going to this day, 5 years in. And it's really all about focusing on doing something new, something that'll keep your brain fresh, focusing on doing something new that'll actually keep you healthy and young too. Because one thing that a lot of folks that age you a lot quicker, one's being dehydration. Another thing is not doing anything new to keep yourself and your brain thinking. Because when you think more, you'll be able to do more. When you do more, you'll be able to have more. And it may not just be more material things, just could be more self-confidence, more self-love, more self-worth, more encouraging words for other folks that you could share with other folks because we all need encouragement nowadays. And sometimes you have to encourage yourself. And that's also has to do with your mindset as well because we talk to ourselves more than we want to admit. The main thing is just giving yourself positive words, telling yourself that you like yourself, you love yourself. If you're like me, call yourself a chocolate Adonis every now and then, every morning. Be like, yeah, that's me. Dang it, that's me in the mirror. That's the mighty D. The ladies want the D. That's why my day starts with D. Like they want the D in their life, and they want that delight. Like giving yourself positive encouragement every single day, giving other people positive encouragement every single day. And that's why mindset is important because it's attached to us for a reason, and we got to keep it fresh, and we make sure we got to keep it new, and make sure we always focus on growing by asking yourself, hey, when was the last time I've done something for the first time?
That's absolute gold. Man, that's gold. I love it, love it. It was another one I wanted to talk about. See, the C was what was the C again?
Oh, connection awareness.
Okay, connection awareness. So what you that's kind of like that's about relationships, right?
Definitely relationships and networking. Yes.
Okay, okay. And that's key. That's key. I think a lot of times we're talking about elite performance. And I think the mistake that people make is thinking that to be great or to be the best means I got to go alone or go at it alone or there's competition, all these types of things, right? And I think that's just simply not so, right? I think the more people you know and the more people you connect with, you can actually build something better and greater. John Maxwell, he says, I think it's the law of significance, right? The law of significance.
Yep.
One is too small of a number to achieve greatness, right? So I go a little deeper on that connection and that connection awareness piece.
Sure thing. Another thing about relationships and networking under the wonderful umbrella of connection awareness is really role models. Because one thing about elite performance is that they also have role models before they eventually become the role model. Like Kobe Bryant, the late great Kobe Bryant. Michael Jordan was his biggest influence. And he basically copied everything he did and created a name for himself. Even Michael Jordan jokingly said he could still beat Kobe today because he knows all of his moves at while he was still alive. And just having that positive influence in your life, that's really one of the major things that leadership is really all about. That's what a growth mindset is all about, is just being a positive influence for somebody and always being a dealer of hope. And if you can instill hope in someone else that they can eventually make tangible and manifest, then you can connect with someone. And that's the major thing, because we're really in the age of disconnection, to be honest with you, because we have these wonderful distraction slabs known as the smartphones that are built to really assess human behavior and really act accordingly and really put out some of the best and worst of the human experience out there in the world at a rapid, instantaneous rate, where you can get both good and bad at the same time from the same device if you have a Wi-Fi connection, and making us really stray further away from family and friends, and making the screen your new friend, making the screen your parent, like raising folks with the TV. It's like the TV was better than the darn smartphone, because the TV you can walk away with it. You couldn't carry it with you. Now it's like, oh, it's with you all the time. And connection awareness is important. So that way you'll have those great role models in your life. You have those great friends in your life, those great business connections in your life. Heck, even weak ties. Weak ties, those ties you may connect with every now and then, who just say hi to, asking how their family's doing, or someone that you haven't really talked to in years is catching up with them, may lead to a wonderful new opportunity. Because funny enough, when I published my second book, I connected with one person that I haven't talked to up to that point, probably about a good year. And he asked me, he's like, "Hey, so how you been?" I'm like, "Oh, you got this new book out, but doing good." It's like, "Hey, got any copies on you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." It's like, I got at least a good 20 on me. He's like, "Man, I'll take 10 of them." And I'm like, "What?" So really, shaking is the it's a wonderful quote I love. The more hands you shake, the more money you'll make. Like we like that example, the guy bought the 10 books from me. Like, we didn't really stay as connected as much, but we still knew each other, and we still stayed on social media, occasionally liking posts here and there and sharing stuff. And we just saw each other in person one day, and even business happened right there on the spot, when some people, even family, won't even buy your product or even advertise your business. So keeping those in mind. So kind of throw a bunch at you right there, but that's the importance of connection awareness. Just being aware of those ahead of you, having good mentors and role models, being aware of those that are side by side, like those that are really encouraging you, those that are traveling similar paths or even the same path you're on. And heck, even some folks that you may not connect with every now and then, but are still in your network because you at least made a good impression on them, and you at least had a connection with them that one day may come right around just like a circle and actually benefit you down the road, and heck, even benefit them in reverse.
Exactly. I think it'll always benefit you. I think some kind of way, it will always benefit you to have those connections and to just be a person of character and love. Like you love people and people love you, and that just promotes well being. I mean, you can make more money, like you just said, more handshakes, more money you make, right? So it's just overall, it's just good for your mental health, everything. Just being connected, because there's a saying that says if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others, right? So that connection is all it's important, man. It's really important. The last one I want to kind of talk about a little more is the habits, because that's so key. Because like I said in the beginning, sometimes people think it's this one big event or this one big thing you do to become an elite performer, right? I just gotta, and they're thinking, oh, I just gotta find that one thing to do to just become an overnight success and this elite performer. But like you said, it comes down to your habits, right? Your habits is gonna make the difference. Those small, because the great people that we're looking at, I guarantee you, they got a system of habits, right? So just talk a little more about habits and how important habits are.
Definitely. Habits are important for multiple reasons. One big example in my own life is where I gained a bunch of weight after losing my father in 2017. And that actually happened, all that weight gain, because I was neglecting myself. Because around before, I'd say 2015, before I really got invested in Toastmasters International as a district leader, overseeing a bunch of clubs in an area and really focusing a lot of my energy on that, and eventually writing a book and starting to grow my business that way, I stopped taking care of myself. I focused too much on really just putting myself out there and not even taking care of myself, because at the time my father, he was going through Alzheimer's at the time, so I was part-time caregiver, had a full-time job at the time as well, so another 40 hours of my week dedicated to full-time employment. And then with Toastmasters and starting a business with the book and speaking and encouraging people, that took another 40 plus hours out of my week. So basically, I got little to no sleep. And one of the major causes of weight gain after a certain amount of time is a lack of sleep. There was even a study that they did, I think it was back in 2000, I think it was 2010. It's probably even stronger now. It's going to be interesting to do studies after this whole COVID thing when they finally get more data. But back in 2008, during the crash, like the USA alone lost about a good $58 billion worth of productivity, all because of a lack of sleep. Because the thing is, when you don't have that full amount of sleep that you need, you're more irritable, you're less fun to be around, and then you'll tend to gain more weight because you try to have sugar, caffeine, and anything else that'll keep you awake. And when you're short with people, then you'll be short with your business. And you don't want to be short with your business, whether that's your actual business as an entrepreneur or your business of life, or heck, even just your regular full-time job. And even if you don't like people, you still have to acknowledge that, hey, you still have to be able to be cordial with people. And if you can't be fully cordial with people because you didn't get enough sleep and you're running on a lack of sleep, then that'll do you in. And that's one of the major things that led me to gain about a good 46 pounds over a good 2 year span, because I wasn't taking care of myself and I wasn't getting enough sleep. After I focused on at least getting those 7.5 hours of sleep every night, then I started to lose more weight, because that gives the body more chance to recover, especially after a long day, especially when you may have to make a lot of decisions. And eventually getting back to doing some home workouts as well, because in addition to the lack of sleep, I stopped going to my kickboxing and CrossFit classes on top of that, all because I was dedicating my time to other things, but not focusing on the body that enables me to do these things. So, this is one of those good times where you focus on the enabler. Your body enables you to have success. Make sure you take care of your enabler, that is your wonderful body, your temple.
All right, man. I love it. All right. So, hey, that's the five keys to elite performance. Dom broke it down to the acronym Mitch, the acrostic Mitch. Give that to us one more time. What does Mitch stand for?
Sure thing. The M in Mitch stands for mental awareness. The I stands for influence awareness. The T stands for time awareness. The C stands for connection awareness. And H stands for habit awareness.
All right, everybody. Hey, that's the five keys to elite performance. So I hope you took notes, wrote that down. If you didn't, just listen to this again. and just get that process down, and and just go out there and be great. So, Dom, where can we? This has been an amazing conversation. I thank you for just sharing your wisdom and knowledge with us. Hey, where can we get in touch with you? What do you have going on? Like, just how can we connect with you?
Yep, sure thing. Well, first up, before that, thank you so much, Larry, for having me on your show, my man. I know it takes a lot of work to do a podcast and stay consistent with it, and you know what you're doing, my man. So thanks for the opportunity to be on your podcast and share it with your wonderful folks. And for those who want to keep the conversation going with yours truly, head over to dombrightmon.com. That's dombrightmon.com. And even have a free gift for your listeners called the 21 Lessons Learned from Podcasting. If you want to learn, grow, and manage a successful podcast like yours truly, got 21 free tips for you in a free ebook if you head over to dombrightmon.com.
All right, and I'll make sure that I'll link to that in the show notes. Dom, thank you again for being on the show, man. It's been good. Hey, everyone, I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Dominique Brightmon. That's all I've got for this episode. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, if you like the show, please rate it, leave a review in iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you're listening. If you're watching this on YouTube, like it and share it with somebody who you know will benefit from it. And don't forget to subscribe so that you can get the updated episodes when they get released. Thanks again for watching and listening. And remember, let's win in life. And to do that, you got to keep a growth state of mind. I'm L.A. Davis, and I'll catch you on the next episode.